You're listening to the Balanced Educator Podcast, episode number 13. Welcome to the Balanced Educator. We're your hosts, Kaylee
and Josiane from EduCalm. Our intention is to equip and empower you to feel more calm, balanced, and joyful in all aspects of your life.
Hey there, welcome to the Balanced Educator Podcast, episode number lucky 13. On today's episode, we are talking all about gratitude and appreciation. And we have created a 5 days of gratitude journal for you. You can use it for yourself and with your kiddos. It is free, and we'll let you know where you can find it at the end of this episode. So let's start off first by saying we are so grateful for you guys.
So grateful. So crazily grateful.
We love doing this podcast thing because we just get to chat and be ourselves and connect with you guys in a deeper way. And we're so thankful that we have this fun platform to do that.
And we just feel like through this podcast and through everything that we've been doing that we have this amazing community of mindful educators and parents and students and kids that we are just so grateful for. So thank you.
So a nice little rampage of appreciation that was not planned, but is now quite natural for us to practice this gratitude thing.
Just so you know, before the episode, we
just had a dance party.
Yeah. And we were just saying how grateful we are for like this life that we have. And it just feels good to talk about this right now.
Yes. Yeah, we definitely ramped ourselves up for this. So, Josiane, what is gratitude?
Gratitude is cultivating the feeling of feeling thankful, feeling good about something, and taking the time to notice that.
Yeah. It's so easy to let the awesome things in our life just sort of come and go without taking a moment to really be thankful for what just happened. You know, we're kind of trained to move on to the next thing. Like, okay, this is done, on to the next. Let's keep moving forward. Let's keep trudging forward. So this gratitude practice is a mindfulness practice to just reflect on, you know, all these awesome things that we're experiencing.
And the more grateful we are, the more we take the time to notice what we're grateful for, the more grateful we are. It's such an awesome, thing that happens when you start noticing all the awesome things in your life. There's more awesome things in your life.
Yeah. So, for both of us, our mindfulness practice actually started with a gratitude practice. So, Josiane, can you walk me through, how did you come to starting this gratitude practice?
I had a very difficult time between September and December last year. And gratitude was kind of something that I already knew about, that I read about, that sometimes I would take the time to notice what I was grateful for, but it didn't become a practice until around that time, towards the end of that period, when I decided that I wanted to be happier. I wanted to feel less stressed, less anxious. I started with noticing, taking the time intentionally every single day to notice 3 to 5 things that I was grateful for. So I did that using a gratitude journal. So I went and bought a journal, and I just every day started writing in it a couple things. It started with 3 to 5 things. Sometimes it was longer depending on how I felt or what the day was like, where I would just write down 3 things that I appreciated in my life. And at the start, that wasn't easy. Even 3 to 5 things, because it wasn't a practice yet. I had to really think about the things that I was grateful for. And as I kept practicing, I would notice more and more and more things. And these days, sometimes when I write in my journal, I will have like 7 pages later, I'm like, could still be writing, because the more you notice what you're grateful for, the more you notice, right?
Yeah. And I'll jump into the sciencey side of this now.
Kaylee, the science gal, everyone.
So we are constantly teaching our brain how to think. Everything that we are doing, everything that we're focusing on, everything that we're practicing, we are wiring our brain to continue doing that in the future. The more that we do anything, the deeper that connection in our brain becomes. And so it naturally becomes easier when you're first learning to read. It's really hard in the beginning. And then eventually, now you can't look at a word and not read it. Your brain is so strongly wired to read that it just does it without thinking. You don't have to consciously try to read. It just happens. So anything that we choose to focus on, our brain is going to do it for us eventually. So that's kind of the whole story that you had. Was in the beginning, it was hard. I remember when I started my mindfulness or my gratitude practice, same thing. I had a journal on my desk. And at the end of the day, I would often struggle to find even 3 things that I could be grateful for, because my brain wasn't yet trained to even look for things to be grateful for, right? And like you said, as you keep going, sometimes there's easier days, sometimes there's harder days, but you're still doing it every day as a practice. So it's getting deeper connections in your brain. Eventually, now you can't help but notice all the things you're grateful for, because that is how your brain is now wired.
Kaylee, this is like every day our conversations. We're like, oh, I'm so grateful for my life. I'm so grateful for you, Kaylee. I'm so grateful for our EduCalm baby that we're growing. We're nurturing. And I just have so much gratitude, and I just want to tell the whole world. I just want to shout it out.
Yeah. And it all started by teaching yourself to look for the things to be grateful for.
Yeah. I think also it works really well to make it so intentional that you're writing it down.
Yeah.
Because I knew it was important to be grateful before I started the journal, but it was too easy to forget. Mm-hmm. Like I had to make it a routine.
A physical act that you're writing it down. You're actually setting aside 5 minutes at the end of your day, before bed or at the end of the workday or in the morning, whenever it is, to actually physically write it down.
And then the other thing that I noticed with that, which was really interesting, is then when I did have a really difficult day, which I did because I went through a difficult time, or, that whole year. If I was having a bad day, I could easily go read my journal to make myself feel grateful. Therefore, if I'm feeling grateful, I'm feeling awesome. I'm feeling good. I'm feeling ready to take on the day. Mm-hmm. Just having that written down and to be able to go back and read it just made me feel emotionally so much better.
Yeah, it's a reminder of all the things that you have to be grateful for, even though it doesn't feel like you have anything right now. And sometimes feeling gratitude can be really difficult if you're in a really difficult moment.
It is.
It can be so hard. So one thing we can do when it feels really hard to feel grateful is like really go broad. Like you can say things like, you know what? I'm grateful I'm breathing right now.
I'm grateful I'm alive.
I'm grateful my heart is beating and I don't even have to ask it to do it for me.
I'm grateful I have a roof over my head.
I'm grateful that I have clothes to wear. We could go on for a while. I'm grateful for the sun. I'm also grateful for the clouds and the snow and the summer and the winter. But it kind of builds momentum, right? So when you start off with something really broad, if you're like in a funk and you can't think of a single thing to be grateful for, go really simple. Like I'm grateful that my body feels like it's at the correct temperature right now. And then like, oh yeah, and I also am grateful for, I like this sweater that I'm wearing. I'm grateful for that. Oh yeah, and I guess I'm also grateful that I have a job. And I'm also grateful that I have family and friends to support me. And it just grows and grows and grows. You build this momentum, and then eventually you're like, oh yeah, I have so many things to be grateful for. And it's almost like this cloud gets a little bit lifted from your vision, where sometimes when you're stuck in a really negative emotional place, it's so hard to see the light.
Also, it's just such a great way to get to that really high point of feeling so good. Yeah. Like if you want to feel really good as fast as possible, just go on a rampage of appreciation. Yes. Just run around your house and notice all the things you're grateful for.
Yeah. While you were gone on your yoga teacher training, I missed you a lot. And one thing that I built as a daily practice was, because normally we spend a good chunk of our day on FaceTime and we're like with each other, even though we're not in the same physical location. And I always have you to chat with. So when you were gone, I was like home all by myself. And so, so then I would, in my afternoon walks, when I would go outside with Nova, I walk on this trail where I never see any other people. So I would out loud talk about all the things I was grateful for. Because just like writing it down, when I said it out loud, it was more concrete and it kept me on that train of thought. Because if you're just thinking of it in your head, it's very easy for your thoughts to be like, I'm grateful for this and that. And then all of a sudden quickly switch back to, oh, but this is going wrong. Oh, but this is difficult. Oh, I'm upset about this. So doing it out loud, oh my gosh, by the end of that 30-minute walk, I was like, felt like I was in a rainbow cloud full of unicorns and sprinkles. But because we talked in past episodes about how our thoughts create our emotions. So when we're thinking negative thoughts, we're feeling negative emotions. If we're thinking positive thoughts, grateful thoughts, we're thinking positive, we're feeling positive, grateful emotions. So if we can go on like a 5-page spree of writing down what we're grateful for, or like a 30-minute walk or a 10-minute walk, or just chatting with someone, like maybe going up to a colleague and being like, hey, let's have a rampage of appreciation, and just going back and forth of the things you're grateful for.
Or even just going to tell that colleague how much you appreciate them.
Yeah. Then you're thinking thoughts for an extended amount of time that are create good feeling emotions. So it's like this cycle that you start creating and this momentum that you start building towards the positive. And then we've also talked about how you're looking for what you've told your brain to look for. So in the morning, so our morning routine, if you start off with asking your brain to look for the positive, it's just easier for it to continue to look for the positive. So if we can intentionally create this gratitude practice, then we are asking our brain to look for more things that it's grateful for. And it feels good.
That makes so much sense. The better it gets, right?
Yeah, exactly. We're building momentum towards the positive in a biological way, in a thought way, in a experience way. It really ties it all together.
I feel like if, starting a meditation practice or mindfulness practice is too much to start, which for me it was, gratitude is the perfect place to start. Like everybody can connect with that practice. It's so simple. You can start with 2 or 3 things. Like it doesn't have to be much. This is something that we can do on our own, or we could do with our family. Like what if at supper, when we sit down to eat, we talk about 3 things that we're grateful for before we eat supper.
Yeah. Or during supper. The conversation during supper is going to be just going around the table, talking about what we're grateful for during our day.
Positive things in our life.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. How can we bring this into the classroom?
So what I actually did with my class was to literally do a gratitude practice at the end of the day. So at the end of the day, we would write down in our agenda, what needed to be remembered or any homework that might have to be completed. And during that 5 minutes at the end of the day, there was also space in the agenda to write 3 things that they were grateful for that day. And
that's great.
Yeah. And I would actually go around and read it and say, hey, what were you grateful for today? And we'd just, have kind of a chat about it. So it was building it into the daily routine.
And that probably also made you feel great as a teacher. What a nice way to end the day.
It was. It really ended the day on a good point for them and for me.
I would do a gratitude journal after lunch. So the kids would come back from lunch and then they had a scribbler, that's what we call it in English, right?
Yeah.
That they would just write in things that they were grateful for. And then when they were done, I think it was 3 to 5 things, depending on the time of the year. We kind of built up to 5 things. They were in grade 4, so
yeah.
After they wrote it, they would put their scribbler away and then they would just silently read for 10 minutes before we continued on with our afternoon. But it was a great way to reset, calm down after recess. We all know recess can be a little crazy.
Yeah.
And just to focus on ourselves again, bring ourselves back, feel good because we're practicing gratitude, and then be able to continue with our days. And another thing that I did was that I would have a box where students could write why they were grateful for someone else in the class, and it was anonymous. And so they would write it, and the kids loved this. They would do this. I would introduce it to them at the beginning of the year, and it would, sustain itself throughout the whole year. And yeah, they would put in the slot, and then during morning meeting, I would read to them all of the, expressions of gratitude towards each other, which they just loved. And you can just see how good they felt when they, it was about them.
Yeah.
Why someone was grateful for them. It was such an awesome practice.
That's so awesome. I did something with my class that is kind of along the same lines. It kind of happened by accident, but I just got the inspiration for it one day right after our mindfulness practice. We decided to choose one person that day, and we'd go around the circle and everyone would say one thing that they loved about that person. So it couldn't be
That's
about
nice.
their looks or their clothes or the things that they owned. It had to be about their personality. And oh my God, I could cry right now just thinking about how beautiful it was. The person seeing how everyone in the class had something nice to say about them. And the kids were easily able to come up with reasons why they appreciated that person.
It was part of your class culture as well. So that probably helped a lot, right? For them to be able to think.
Yeah. And I think it got them into the mode of being oh, this person's up tomorrow. Kind of starting to look for reasons to be grateful or to appreciate the other students in the classroom. And we ended up doing that it almost finished perfectly with the end of the year. And I was like, man, I wish I would have started this sooner because it was awesome.
Okay, and that just made me think, okay, there's so much you can do with gratitude in the classroom, and it can so easily be infused into language arts.
Yeah.
There's a few things that I did, but I just thought of my amazing coworker, Janelle, that I worked with before. I totally miss her. But she does this thing where on Friday afternoons, the kids write on a Post-it something that they loved about their week. It wasn't necessarily gratitude, but it was something awesome that they enjoyed. And they stuck it, she still does this, they stick it on the board. And then they leave Friday, with that awesome feeling of this week was good. And then Monday, when they come back into the classroom, what's the first thing they see?
Oh, that's so awesome. What they were grateful for last week.
Yes.
It's starting off the week, remembering.
Yeah.
Oh, that's
when she
awesome.
told me she was doing this, I was like, this is so awesome. I wish I would have thought of that when I was still in the classroom. So shout out to Janelle.
Janelle, if you are listening right now, you're awesome. All right. So if you have enjoyed this episode and you're like, yeah, I'm jumping on the gratitude train and you would like a tool to help you make it a habit in your life and or in the lives of the kiddos that you have in your life, then we have a tool for you. So go to www.educalm.com. That's EDUCALME. Click on the Learn tab, and it's going to bring you to our online EduCalm school. Jump into the Balanced Educator free resources, and we have a gratitude journal waiting there for you.
We are so grateful for you.
We appreciate you. Thank you so much for listening, and we will chat with you again next week on the Balanced Educator Podcast.